Did you notice the word creation? Kriya? And sh, as in shunt, ship, shove, show. Kriya? As in the breathing, triangular breathing with spiritual thoughts. Ideally, of course, of God. Kriya, creation. We create. He breathed into, and it became. Adam became a living soul. To push, shove. Shuffle is also a sort of pushing action, isn't it? And the breathing, the breath is something about creativity. Holy Spirit, same word as wind in Greek. It's the invisible power, isn't it? You can feel the wind, but you can't see it. The air is there, but you can't see it. But it's not nothing. We have in atomic theory now, some particles are responsible for the mass, what we think of as weight in a gravitational situation, But some particles don't have mass. Now, hang on, what does that mean? It exists, but it has no weight. None. Not just low, just none. Has science departed from its rationality? Well, yes, it does from time to time, because it comes up against things it can't explain. So, it says actions, path of the electron, for instance, around the nucleus. Perhaps it's random. There's no cause. Well, of course, then you can't predict, because you've decided there is no cause to find out. It doesn't exist. It's random. So it's a bit of a killer to science if you don't believe in a universally causal world, universe. That doesn't mean to say that it's not true. Some things could be random. It's just that not everything, therefore, is going to be something you can conquer, because you can't predict the random. You can only predict that which is causal. But creation is something that you impose upon. In some sense, you shove, you force. Oh, I should have said that the view of the electron now is rather different. That it's not so much a particle, but a shell, a force shell around the nucleus. Hence you can locate the electron in any position in that, on that shell, and your observation of it, in some sense, seems to localize its force where you're affecting it. Hence, your observation changes what you're trying to observe. So you actually seem to observe a particle in a particular place, but it's because, in some sense, that's where you're finding there is a force at any location you care to choose. Does that mean if you were checking 2 locations on the shell, they would both show the same force? Or would you have in some sense halved it? I don't know. I'm utterly out of my depth. I'm not an atomic physicist, as you know. Yes, creation, kriya, and imposition. You see, we impose upon the elements, don't we? And we make something we want, a bridge, a ship, a house. God imposes in some way upon the dust of the earth that he makes Adam with. He breathes into it, which is an insistence, a presence of spirit, which pushes for a particular outcome, a living soul. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. The Kriya. Yes, the Kriya breathing, you see that in some sense you can regulate the breathing in such a way that, well, emotionally and physically, it makes you much calmer. But in fact, the argument is it's a spiritual consequence. In some sense, you start to be more sensitive to the Spirit, Holy Spirit. You're calm, you're at peace, you're aware, the body's functioning as it should, you're still. Be still and know that I am God, which is close to, this is life eternal, to know thee. Well, of course, traditionally, especially in Judaic religions, prayer has been the means to achieve this. Simply talking to God or with God and becoming aware of him. And in some sense, therefore, beginning to know him. And the peacefulness of being in God's presence is attained. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.